Welcome to Building Great Sales Teams, a show dedicated to making sales teams tick, tick, boom. Great sales teams are not recruited, they are built, block by block. Let's get to work.
All right, guys, we got Barbara Schreihans here with your tax coach.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Great.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. And so what we're doing right now is we're actually in the podcast trailer here. You're my third guest in this trailer. And yeah, we're outside the Comerica Center about to attend MDM. We're like, you know, Tony Kasai reached out to me and was like, hey, are you bringing the trailer? And I was like, I thought about it. I don't know. He's like, please bring it, you know?
Yeah.
He said,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, he said you should bring it or whatever. And, my thought was we were going to be jam-packed. You know what I mean? And, but yeah, he was absolutely right. We've already shot 3 of them. So awesome. Well, I want to talk about your business because I think a lot more salespeople and sales organizations need to get educated on their taxes. Yeah. So the way a lot of sales organizations work is 1099. And there is so much tax savings inside of that, and these salespeople aren't using it, you know? And so one of the things that we're trying to do at our company, Argenta, is develop freedom training, and the first piece of that training needs to be tax consulting.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, and so I guess what advice do you have for 1099 salespeople?
Yeah, good question. So sadly, 1099 contractors probably pay the most in taxes because they don't set themselves up correctly. So the first thing I would do is have them set up an LLC for themselves. And then once they're an LLC, they can become an S corporation. Doing that, they can save up to $22,000 a year in taxes just by switching how they're taxed. So that's a huge one, is make sure you have your LLC because you can't do the S corp thing without it. And then it's like starting to realize that you can like write off your life pretty much in your business so that your taxable income's way less. So really just like, you know, your cell phone, your home office, you can use the Augusta rule, which is where your business pays yourself rent. You can add your kids to your payroll. So there's so many things.
Yeah, I just started doing that this year, and I've got 3 kids. So from what I understand, it's $12,500 per kid.
So it goes up every year. So this year it's now $12,950.
Nice.
So yeah, even more.
And just so like the tax illiterate understand this, you know, because I was up until about a year ago, right? You're basically saying, hey, I made, you know, for me, in my case, like $37,000 less because I paid out these taxes to my kids. And typically what you list on there is modeling, general office administration work, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So say you had like 100,000 of income, the 37 that you pay your kid, you're now at, 63,000 of income instead of 100. And in terms of the kids' jobs, there's so many things. Like they just have to have a legit job that they can actually do. So if your kids are little, like you mentioned, you can have them as like social media models, pay them for use of their photos. But as they get older, like even 8, 9, 10-year-olds, they can do social media management. They can engage for you on social media. They can comment, they can like, they can follow hashtags. In the sales space, they can hand out flyers, postcards, like all kinds of stuff. So
no, that's great. That's freaking huge. What about, I guess, in a business owner's case, where do you see them underutilizing the tax code the most? Where do you see the most opportunity with your clients?
Yeah, so the bigger and bigger you get as a business owner, the higher profit. Then it's starting to use more complicated strategies. So having multiple entities so that you can do intercompany things and intra-company. You can do strategic investments that some are solely for tax savings, and those are great, but also investing so that you get cash flow too, passive cash flow. And so it's really just like working with your tax preparer and tax strategist to be like, this is where I think I'm going to be this year. What can I do to pay nothing in tax or very little in tax, and doing it before the year ends. So figuring out those strategic moves and investments beforehand.
Yeah, and that's huge. And too many of us get into our business, we make a bunch of money, and then we realize, oh yeah, we got to pay taxes, or we got to do our taxes, and then we don't even have the money to pay them. And so now we're negotiating with the IRS. We're taking up our precious time instead of building our businesses. We're doing stuff like that, right? Yeah. And what I love about what you do is you're preparing for the year versus doing it after the fact.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
when you do it that way, from what I've experienced, you save so much more money in that. So how did you even get into this?
I know, that's funny, huh? People are like, did you always want to be an accountant? I'm like,
yeah.
No, like whoever, like, no. But I was in business school. I got pregnant in college and went to my career counselor, and I was like, I'm pregnant. Like, I need whatever like major I do, it needs to be 100% chance I'm going to have a job the day I graduate, because I'm having this kid. I was a junior at the time. I had him on spring break, went back the next week, which was crazy, still graduated on time. But my career counselor said accounting, like 100% chance you'll have a job, which was true. I had a job before I even graduated. And so I kind of, started at Big Four accounting firms, the largest firm in the world, and realized they weren't actually saving anyone money in taxes. Yeah. And so I kind of shopped around firms. Like I worked at a lot of accounting firms and realized they're all kind of the same. Yeah. And so I wanted to start my own where all we do is save people money, and that makes it fun. And the team loves it because all we're doing is helping clients and making them happy.
And it's aggressive tax planning instead of just, being an order taker and following the traditional boxes and everything like that. So that's what I love about it. If I had a tax coaching company, that's what I would do. I'd be aggressive about it, Yeah. And I love that. I would imagine that most of your business comes from referrals. You advertise a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I know within our community, everybody's like, Barbara. You know what I mean?
Yeah, luckily, it's something everyone has to do, right? Everyone has to file their taxes. So that, I think, already gives us a little
edge. Yeah.
Yeah, a little push. But then I would say, like you mentioned, it's mostly referrals, which is great. We've never done a single paid ad.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so you're coming out of college. You've just had your son. Is that correct? How old is he now?
10.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to age you there. So you've got a 10-year-old son now. Any other kids?
Yeah, 4. A
Awesome.
4-year-old, and then a 12-year-old stepdaughter.
Gotcha. And I've met your husband. Awesome dude. Great energy. So I guess tell me about the journey between college, being a single mom, and then starting a tax consulting business. You obviously worked for some of the biggest firms in the country, and then you wanted to transition and be more aggressive about it and everything. Did you get funding for that? Did you pull from savings? How did that work?
Oh my gosh. Nothing. I had nothing.
Yeah.
No. So when I graduated college, I had 6 figures of debt. My parents are addicts, so it's not like they saved for college or anything. So it was all funded with student loans or myself because I worked full time. And then out of college, I moved to the Bay Area, and that's the most expensive area in the U.S.
Yeah.
And was making, I think, $57,000 a year, when rent, average rent is $3,500 a month. The math did not compute. Right. So I was literally going more and more and more into credit card debt the longer I stayed there. Yeah. And luckily I met my husband when I was there. He was stationed there at DLI, the Language Institute for the Army. Okay. And 3 months after we met, he was like, I'm leaving for North Carolina. And I had told him when we met, this is not going to be a thing. I don't date military guys. Yeah. My ex was military. Yeah. And he's
you like him, but you don't want to date him anymore.
Yeah. And I sure as heck am not going to move to North Carolina. I'm from California. That's my home. That's my family. And he convinced me to move to North Carolina, and we were married after 3 months of knowing each other. And so worked at accounting firms over there. Still the same thing. I wasn't happy at them. And we were then moving from North Carolina to Arizona. He was getting restationed. So it was a good transition time. I was I'm tired of hopping accounting firms. I feel just when I'm kind of getting the flow of things, we're moving again. Yeah. And it was also the same time I had saved one of our clients $2 million in taxes. It was this big construction company. Wow. And so they gave that accounting firm they were like, hey, we just received the largest check we've ever received in our 60 years of being open. So I'm like, sweet, I'm going to get like a bonus check, a commission check, something. Nothing. Got nothing. I was crying to my husband. And he's like, well, if they were just your client, how much would they have paid you? And I'm like, shit, well, I guess the same. And he's like, why don't you just start your own firm? And I don't know why. I literally had never thought of it ever before. Yeah. I think like, you know, in college, they just teach you like the corporate structure. And same in accounting firms. It's like you go from senior to the manager to director to partner. Right. So my goal was always to become a partner in a firm, but I never thought a partner in my own firm. Right. So that's when I started it. Literally had zero money. I was still trying to pay off my student loans and credit card debt, so I had nothing in savings. I literally started by paying $100 to get my LLC. Nice. And just like reinvested all of the money. Yeah. Since then.
It's the same way I started too. I started from zero. You know what I mean? So that is an awesome story, and I love hearing that part of it, and the utility that your company has for, you know, 1099 salespeople. You know, everybody that's listening to this show, either they're just starting their sales team, or, you know, they have one and they're just looking for more information like that. And one of the easiest ways to get somebody like Barbara is reach out to her, pay her a fee to train with your guys for an hour on a Zoom call or something like that, and then use it as training for your company. That's one of the easiest utilities you can do. And it's just simple information like she just gave, or just, you know, set them up with this podcast episode, right? and then give them Barbara's contact info, and that is...
Yeah, best place, if you're not following us on Instagram, Your Tax Coach, because we drop daily tips and tricks on how to save in taxes. Nice. Or our website, yourtaxcoach.biz. Feel free to reach out. I just trained Neil's roofing sales team.
Oh, badass.
So that was fun, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get you on too.
Yeah. It was good. They had really good questions. They were really smart, so that was fun.
No, he's got a hell of a team over there. But I really appreciate you coming on to the podcast and doing this at last minute notice. I think we just found out 10 minutes ago we were going to do one.
Yeah, hey, so you know,
that's what it's all about. Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. Remember, great sales teams are not recruited. They are built block by block. Until next time.